Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be continuing our alternate history of the world series. And currently we're at 484 subscribers, which is 16 away from our goal of 600 by June 1st. And I'd like to say that we only have 5 days left for you to get that goal. And so let's continue into the video. And as the thumbnail suggests, I guess you know what's happening. With Austria accusing Serbia, Romania, and Montenegro after somebody died. Like in our timeline. Except, yeah, that's exactly what happened in our timeline. Why they will go to war with Serbia, but they didn't realize Montenegro and Romania, too, were part of it, they said. So this leads to Russia getting angry at them, which so on leads to more. This then leads to Germany intervening. And this one leads to France intervening. Okay. Well, this seems like our timeline. Except you will see the changes. And yes, Crimea, Russia was a part of this. Despite not wanting to, it won't join the war, I guess. And then France has enough and enters the war, followed by French Indochina. Duh, they would join. And then Britain gets furious. Yep, furious. And it asks its dominions to join, such as Canada, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Are they shown under the British Empire because they are independent areas of the British Empire? That includes Newfoundland as a dominion. These parts are part of Britain, I realize. Britannia stretches the seas. The sun never sets on the British Empire, they say. And with the dominions entering the war now, Dominion of Australia joins, guys. Followed by the Dominion of New Zealand. Followed by the Dominion of Newfoundland and the Dominion of Canada, respectively. With the war breaking out, Germany's going to go ahead and invade Belgium. But there's one thing you need to know about that. The Netherlands will secretly join this alliance. So yeah, we don't need to worry about that. As they invade Belgium and Luxembourg to invade France. But nobody realized, but the Dutch Empire, and I think the Dutch Empire had Suriname. And well, even their colonial hold in Indonesia joins. And that's a big deal that they join. Mostly for the battlefield. And they use this to their advantage. They had troops already flooded into the Netherlands. And they make a big push into here. Their invasion goes strong. They're into Belgium. But Russia starts an invasion of them. And this invasion goes well at first. And then Austria-Hungary was ready for the invasion of these nations. This looks like, it doesn't look like the right color. And they move into Serbia and Montenegro. They move into these nations really fast as they were weakened from the Second Balkan War. But before they could get to Romania and start, Russia had already had its troops amassed there and into the north of Austria-Hungary. It's hard to imagine Austria-Hungary staying strong still. which a lot of fighting happened. Russia is actually being competent in this war. Let's go check out Germany's colonies. Are they having success at any of them? At the Cameroon colony, they are pushing into the British colony in Nigeria. Let's see what happened to Togo. Well, Togo kinda fell. They invaded like this, and then this happened. Another one in a weak spot was their colony of Southwest Africa is falling. About that line. And then the Tanzania colony does pretty well. And Italy finally joins the war. And this colony is probably with Italy finally joining. On Germany's side, as they want more Libya to be expanded. Which was a shock probably to the world order. But they invade strong out of their colony. Germany sending more troops to the Western Front and moves deeper into France. And a stalemate starts getting closer to reality. But doesn't. Let's see how the Nether Dutch colony is doing. Well, not well. And German. Well, Britain manages to take the island of Sumatra, basically. See? They land here, too. And as you can see, they basically took it over. And then here. And then here. I'll be back. Forces to the Eastern Front. And Russia actually suffers a huge defeat. Which embarrassed Russia. With Germany having a breakthrough in the Polish front. Keep in mind, this is spring too. And it's 1916. So it is a bit later. But World War I also started late. Then the winter comes, so they just dig in there. Austria made a few advances in the Romania. Then they stopped for the winter to focus on the Western Front, as the Eastern Front is hard to invade in the winter. They take Paris somehow, as they haven't sunk a boat bringing America into the war, which was pretty good. How's the Dutch Suriname done? Well, it's done pretty well. It's done this. Hard to say who'll win. With the winter on the Eastern Front being over, so a further advance is made as they start their invasion into the Ukrainian plains. And the Ukraine is mostly because of the wheat, so they're invading there. So yeah, as they pass the Dnieper River and take Crimea somehow. With Germany pushing up towards Estonia. And Russia starts having internal problems. And it starts over here. But before that does happen, it's getting close to happening, but the final straw is about to happen. Turkey and allies join the war on Germany's side. Greece joins it against them. So does Arabia and Iran. And yeah. Japan and the Qing dynasty decide to join this war. Even though it's probably the last war the Qing dynasty will afford. And Thailand joined the German team, which was interesting to me, but they do. Well, they didn't, but they do in this timeline. And they actually have success pushing into British Burma. And they move into Cambodia. I mean Indochina. But it goes really well. The Ottomans invade to the Suez Canal, while the Italians are moving towards the Suez Canal. They cross and move into Cairo, taking it. Effectively, basically splitting Britain off from this colony, which makes reinforcement hard. So this Tanzania has a huge breakthrough, which with France and Europe on the brink of its knees. France and Europe collapses. And this is after Greece has collapsed, Cyprus. And while they start pushing into Russia successfully, and this is mountain, so this has to be humiliating. And they move effectively south because, well, they learned a lot of stuff last time they fought. And they got stronger. And boosted their confidence in their military, which is always good. With the brink of Moscow falling, something big happens. As the Reds rise up. Inside Russia, they eventually move in and take Moscow. And they move towards the German front lines. In the Caspian Sea. Eventually they're this size, the Red forces, and they decide a peace treaty is necessary. Or, as the Bolsheviks have come to power. People are wondering what to do. Germany has basically succeeded in a peace deal. Britain's Africa is basically in trouble as they can barely get resources in. The Middle East is collapsing on them. And Iran is just collapsing. So I guess Iran's capital is taken. Iran, with no choice, basically just collapses in on itself. Same with the Arabs. And then to the British colonies in the Middle East, well, they collapse. And then they invade Raj. As nothing is left to do, basically for Britain, no choices. The Germans, with the help of the Netherlands, their navies go here and land as Britain can't blockade them because they broke through the blockade, which is great. I should have shown that. The Netherlands quickly recapturing these territories. Britain is in a state of confused. And then it's found out. And, well, they're learning this all from Turkey. They need to find a nation to put this person in, is what they're doing. It's telling them the future. Can't now, because, well, the tides are turning. On the opposite of history. And yeah. With this allowing this to happen, which is a major defeat for Britain, as the colony of Kenya falls. As they invade Chad and into Nigeria further. This colony moves up into Tunisia. Germany's navy lands here. With the Dominions becoming in a state of realizing there's nothing they can do. A few of them, as they think there's nothing left to fighting in this war, so they just leave the war. Britain is infuriated and threatens the colonies. And South Africa doesn't leave the war because I think they will get land out of it. But that's until the German Navy comes crashing over Namibia. So they leave the war. Britain is infuriated too. WWI meeting in Berlin for a treaty on this war. In World War I, the Germans expanded some of their colonies. You didn't expand into all the land they had occupied just so they could get some colonies they lost back. And then Thailand joined their alliance and expanded down all the way into Singapore. And then Borneo went to Indonesia, which was Dutch. And then Papua New Guinea is German. Djibouti and Somaliland were annexed and made a part of Italy. Libya was expanded. The Ottomans expanded into Africa. The Dutch took over a big chunk of South America, and that's pretty much all. And the Russian Civil War will be a big part of the next episode. So come back for the next episode to see how they do. And now let's go. So our goal is 600 subscribers by the end of the month, so it'd be really helpful if you subscribe. So if you could subscribe, that'd be great. And yeah. And so we need to subscribe so we can get our goal by July 1st, which we're really close to. We might get it before because we only have 16 subscribers left to get. So if you could, please subscribe. That's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, comment. Wild Mapper out. But not until you subscribe.